Welcome friends to another Dune video. Today we'll look at the development of the Holtzman technology during the Jihad and the benefits this brought for the war. In propulsion and shielding, how did this go? Friends, let's find out. During the Butlerian Jihad novel, we see Theo Holtzman and Norma Kember develop the Holtzman drive. Norma suggests that they can extend the range of the shields so that they can be used to scramble the minds of the machines that humanity is fighting against. They get this working. The shield scrambler is tested on a robot, and though it shows promise, the weapon also does a lot of damage to the surrounding area, but it's enough for it to be later tested on ships in space as a shield. Multiple layers were used on some of the more vulnerable ships. They would prove their strength as long as the AI did not think to slow their speed when attacking, or the shields were not struck by weapons. But Xavier Harkonnen observes they were rarely used lasers, as they caused such little large-scale destruction just by themselves. Norma then makes a discovery. She believes the Holtzman effect, which warps space to create the shield, could also be used to fold the fabric of space to shortcut across the known universe, connecting two separate points no matter the distance, so you could travel from one point to another in the blink of an eye. But she would have to do this work in secret away from Holtzman, who would steal the glory off from her. The great fleet gathers to fight the machines, and the ships in the battle to get to their target at this point, with no Holtzman propulsion in place yet, take over a month. Half the armada are given shields, because there was not time to arm every ship with one, and some nobles did not want this unproven technology on the ships that they commanded. As the machines became desperate, they crashed into the human ships. At this point, only those that were equipped with shields had a chance, and those unleashed atomics on the machine's planet. This planet happened to be one that you might recognise. It's called Earth. At one point, the machines struck back. 6 self-guided projectiles slammed at near relativistic speeds into the ballistic Holtzman barriers and detonated, but the shimmering shields held. So humanity won this battle between the atomics and the shields. And with this technology fairly well proven, new ships were built. Norma has pioneered the suspensor technology that is now widely used in glow globes under Venport Industries, whilst Holtzman separately pushed personal shields under Lord Blood. Norma, in the background and without the knowledge of Holtzman, stopped the overheating shield issue and helped with the flicker and fire ship technique, whereby the guns of the ship could fire for a small moment whilst the shields were down and then they would go back up. It is then she finds the folding space breakthrough she has been chasing. Like a dream, she has seen great ships and navigators to safely guide the ships. She dedicated herself to creating a prototype ship. A cargo ship is the one that was used, and it was modified. She knew this would change the future of the human race. After the death of Theo Holtzman, she continues working on the drive with Venport, though she had lost the original prototype to the plotting of Holtzman and Lord Blood, who were trying to steal what she had created. Her now husband, Aurelius Venport, helps her construct massive shipyards, and their prototypes are tested, and they're about to go commercial, so they needed to make sure that things worked well. So partially computerized guidance systems were needed for the test ships, otherwise the ships would be even more high risk. As the book tells it, the Holtzman calculations and generations of the distortion field required such complex mathematics that no normal human could hope to solve the equations unaided. In early tests, some vessels had gone off course, being damaged or lost, or had passed through a sun and not survived. But even as it did work like this, it gave Venport an acceptable profit ratio in terms of losses. Well, Venport wants the technology to be safer before they donate it to the cause of the Jihad. So the space-folded ships and their risk were put into action through transporting goods along profitable trade routes. Then after that, with the interest of the Jihad peaked, the technology is developed to be used on warships. And it is at this point that Venport makes clear he has made a huge investment here and wants something in return, and he asks, "Therefore I request that Venki Enterprises and its successors be granted irreversible patents on the technology specific to folding space." In other words, he wants a monopoly, and he is granted this. And so the early parts of the Spacing Guild and CHOAM and their said monopolies begin. The rights are also passed on to the heirs. So you see how that carries on. Ventport brings Norma into contact with the spice. He uses it a lot to stay awake, to calm himself during stressful situations, and she takes some, and it helps calm her. And then she continues her work, and for a moment she's out in space, the stars around her and ships are connecting together a human empire. She awoke from her vision saying, "I have seen into the heart of the universe." With the earlier military success, more ships were made in earnest in massive shipyards. Norman watches and thinks the problem with the propulsion resolved. Now the issue is guiding the ships. 1/10 of the journeys still end in disaster. She had for a time put computers secretly into the ships, and that had cut the loss rate in half. But Jihad officers had found this and removed the technology, and only the great negotiating skills of Norma's son had stopped the Jihad supporters from taking her to a very bad fate, we'll say. Norma thinks that a navigator would need to see problems before they occurred, and so over time, experimenting with the spice, because it helped with her thinking, she received visions of faraway places, like of her son Adrian, seeing somewhere else whilst not being there, seeing it before it happened, and she knew that this influence was the spice. She was a Bene Gesserit by breeding, and so she felt the spice slowly evolving and changing her body beyond what she could control or would control. And she put herself into a tank, exposed herself to the melange on that level, and changed into the first guild navigator, solving the final problem that she had faced, and advancing humanity's ability to move fast and do it safely.